Hi, my name is Steve Arnold, and I am the Southeast Regional Director for the Draft Ben Carson Committee, which now is the 2016 Committee. Our name has changed, our purpose remains the same. Get Dr. Ben Carson in the White House. I wanted to give you a quick update. In North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, we have county conventions this month. It is a major thing in those counties with the GOP. And of course, Dr. Ben Carson is running for the GOP nomination. We need to have friendly faces and friendly folks in the GOP establishment, in the GOP party apparatus. And so it would be great to have people involved and getting themselves elected as delegates to the district and state conventions in those states. That's North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. We have a Women's Federation meeting coming up in Florida. We have gun shows that we're doing in Virginia and Kentucky and Tennessee. And we have a focus on grassroots organization in West Virginia and Mississippi and Alabama. We want to build an infrastructure so that when Dr. Carson announces in May, as he very well likely, that is his chosen date, it looks like he has set up his exploratory committee, but the official announcement of the official committee will come in May. And he needs to have a volunteer and a donor base that is built up and ready for him to do what needs to be done to get the nomination and then win the election. And we're definitely thinking long term. We want to do everything we can to make sure that the infrastructure is in place to help him win. Remember the big picture. We have a president right now who, in my opinion, truly hates America. He has a chip on his shoulder the size of a Mack truck about this country and about all the things that this country has done wrong in the world over the last several hundred years. And we have a nominee of the Democratic Party who likely will be Hillary Clinton. It's not given, but it's very likely. And she is in the same mode. She's always blame America first. We must have a constitutional conservative like Ben Carson, who is our nominee, who can excite the base of the Republican Party and then reach out and expand that base at the same time. We must win this race. Now, there are a number of candidates in the Republican field, probably over 20. I've seen even numbers as high as 25 or 27. There are a lot of folks who think they have a shot at being the Republican nominee for president. One of those is a fellow named Scott Walker, who is governor of Wisconsin, seems to be a very nice person. I wanted to give you a few talking points about him because he has risen rather, almost unexpectedly in the polls. But you need to know a couple of things. He has a campaign director, Rick Wiley, who is pro-abortion. He has been on both sides of the immigration argument. We cannot have a Republican nominee who is wrong on amnesty, who's wrong on immigration. He likes to say tough things about building a solid fence and securing our border, but then he backtracks and immediately also says other things on the other side of that issue, like we need to do the right thing, we need to be kind to folks that are already here. So these are major problems of Scott Walker, I think, with the Republican base. And he also has failed to forcefully oppose Common Core in the Wisconsin legislature. He also, as a matter of fact, very recently, was not in favor of the legislature in Wisconsin passing the right to work legislation. Remember, they passed the right to work legislation against his objections. He was hoping that they wouldn't bring the issue up. He thought it would be divisive. But how in the world could you oppose bringing that kind of issue up? Now, he did sign it. He ultimately did the right thing, but he wished that it had never come up in the first place. And so these are just things that you need to be paying attention to as this campaign carries on. Scott Walker is not the only opponent, and he's not all bad, but we have to have a candidate who best represents conservative principles, constitutional principles, and who best has the capacity to expand the base of the Republican Party. So I wanted to give you those talking points, and but I also wanted to thank you again for all that you continue to do. This was just a short update because I want to remind you especially about the conventions in those 3 key states, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. But we have lots of things going on in lots of different states in the Southeast, and I want to thank all of the leadership in the Southeast, all the state leaders and regional directors, and all the folks that have made this so successful thus far. And we are going to continue to work hard. I will be in Georgia this coming week in close to Gainesville. And so if you are anywhere close to Gainesville, Georgia, we will make that information known and hope to see you there. I will be there on Friday and Saturday and then come back to North Carolina. Again, thank you for all you do. God bless.